This is Unit 4, the periodic table, and we're going to start with Lesson 1, the history of the periodic table. In this unit, we will learn about the periodic table of elements. And the first thing that we're going to talk about in this lesson is how different people through time worked in the organization of elements. So in science, the organization of information has always been important. And when chemistry became a science by the work of Lavoisier, he also contributed to the compendium of the information of the time. He wrote a book called Elementary Treatise on Chemistry, and in that book he had, among other information, the table of simple substances, where he enlisted all of the known substances at the time with a new way of naming those substances that he proposed. Then he divided or classified them into 4 different kinds, which were metals, nonmetals, earths, and gases, and not specifically with those names, but somewhere along those lines. At the beginning of the first decade of the 1800s, we have other attempts at organizing information, specifically of the elements, because of the new things that scientists were discovering. The German Johann de Beriner, for instance, was trying to show how sometimes elements present similarities with each other, even when they are different. So he found that what he thought was a law, a scientific law. And this was the law of triads, where he grouped elements with similar characteristics and he ordered them by increasing atomic weight. He found that the middle element out of 3 would have more or less the average weight and characteristics of the other 2 elements in the group. So he thought this could be true because he proved it with several examples. However, at some point he encountered that there were some elements that could not fit into the already made groups of 3, or some new elements were discovered that would fit into those groups. So in the end, it was not the best attempt, but it was a good beginning. After that, in the middle of the 1800s, in 1862 and 1864, and in the end, in 1869, we have several people and scientists attempting to organize more and more elements that were being discovered at the time. During the decade of the 1860s, yes, they knew about 60 elements or so. So in 1862, we have Alexander Beguier de Champ-Courtois, a geologist who proposed a three-dimensional arrangement of elements showing similarities and repetitions of characteristics, where the middle point of this arrangement was the element tellurium, a metal named after the Latin name for Earth. This proposal was called vis tellurique, which translates into telluric helix or telluric screw. In 1864, an Englishman named John Newlands points out for the first time that when you order the elements by increasing atomic weights, you can see a repetition of properties every 8 elements or so. So this was true to the first 20 elements, and he called this the law of octaves because he compared the elements' arrangement to musical scales. But this was not a very well received attempt by the scientific community because they thought it was hilarious to compare elements to musical notes. So it wasn't really attracted to people. Later, at the end of the 60s, of the 1860s, in 1869, we have 2 people in 2 different places of Europe working on the same thing by coincidence. One is Lothar Meyer in Germany, and the other is Dmitry Mendeleev in Russia. Both of them were using atomic weights to order the elements, but they did different little differences in characteristics. And also Mendeleev published before Lothar Meyer, so therefore Dmitry Mendeleev is given the title of the father of the periodic table. Now what they found was that when you order the elements by increasing atomic weights, eventually they would have repetitions of properties, similar what the Newlands had discovered first. The difference between them is that Mendeleev, what he did was left spaces for elements that he thought were not being discovered, and he even proposed characteristics to those elements that were not known. Until Mendeleev, we have what we call the old periodic law that said that if you arrange elements by increasing atomic weights, you would see repetitions of properties, even if there were a couple of instances in which this was not true. And he had to make some exceptions. Now, in 1913, Englishman Henry Moseley, trying to understand the structure of the atom, he began measuring the amount of positive charges on the elements, and he found that each of them have different ones. So basically, he discovered the atomic number. And when they put this information into the periodic table that they had already accepted, which was Mendeleev's table, they saw that the correct order of the elements would have been increasing atomic number. Increasing atomic number means increasing number of protons in the nucleus instead of increasing atomic weight. And this gives way to what we call, these are the graphics, to what we call the modern periodic law, that it states that when elements are arranged in order of increasing atomic number, there is a periodic repetition of their physical and chemical properties. Now, this is the way the periodic table looks like. In the top part, we have the extended version, groups 1 through 18. It shows us as a middle part that are called the inner transition metals that belong only to one single group, but there's a whole bunch of elements there. Those are like that because they're arrangement of electrons, it is thought to be very complicated, which means that the number of valence electrons that they will have and that they would use in a reaction can vary. So then instead of using that one, we use the bottom one, which is the abbreviated version, which is the one that we know. So as you can see, it says that periods are the numbers from left to right are 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then from top to bottom, we have what we call the groups from 1 to 18. In those groupings, we have specific families that we're going to talk about later, but we should know about it right now. For instance, in group 1, we have the red colored ones are the alkali metals, and then right next to them, the alkaline earth metals, and a complete column that also is a complete family would be the one on the right that is called the noble gases. All these things you have found in your periodic table, so we're going to see details of them later on. I hope this is useful for you to study the history of the periodic table.